Last time on Stop That.
Vivica A. Fox, go fuck yourself.
I am
You win,
good.
you motherfucker.
I am good.
All right, Shane. Good job.
Thanks.
Good job.
Yeah, I think the way it works is you have your head, face, body pubes, but then in your pubic region, it's like straight hair. It's like just like metal hair that just like flows
Way
with the
too
wind.
long. You just
Yep.
do a little head banging, the circles and shit.
Yeah, the windmill, the extreme windmill. Anyways, so I think we've covered heaven, to its basics.
I mean, heaven's a lot less interesting than hell.
It really is. It's because negativity is much more fun to talk about. Let's face it.
That I feel like it's easier to picture ultimate pains and sufferings rather than ultimate happiness.
Because we always strive for happiness.
Because in your lifetime, you're striving for happiness and
Mhm.
escaping the worst. So
Yeah.
you're just trying to escape all these bad things that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I guess in hell, there's
Did you want to talk about purgatory and or limbo?
well, limbo is. I feel like limbo is more like
Here.
intermittent existence. According to the heaven hell thing, it's more like. I feel like limbo in the Bible kind of doesn't make sense. Where it's like.
Is there a limbo in the Bible?
Yeah, it's actually in the Catholic, I think, version.
Okay.
Limbo exists for things that were never baptized, but never committed sin. So because they weren't baptized, they can't go to heaven. But because they committed no sin, they can't go to hell.
So
Or basically people who have never heard of, found, or heard the word of Jesus can't be punished because they didn't know, kind of thing.
So then, do they just become ghosts?
No, they go into limbo, which is existence of things that have never.
No, I understand that, but where does limbo exist?
In between, I guess if you're picturing, like I feel like
Is it in the video game Limbo?
that's actually a really good video game.
It's really good.
But I feel like that's more of a description of what hell would look like. Than I feel like limbo is you trying to escape hell. But that's a whole. I mean, obviously it's supposed to be limbo, but
Yeah.
or like at least humans.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't feel like you're the soul of something dead. It feels really strange.
Yeah, it's
Like, I mean, I get in the end you're supposed to be ascending to heaven by climbing a ladder, but in reality it just feels like you're escaping a tunnel or a cave system.
Yeah.
Finding your sister or girlfriend or whatever the fuck that girl was.
They never really explained it.
No, but that's the charm of what Limbo the game was.
You don't have to explain it.
No, but I think Limbo's like kind of like an like I guess if you're taking it in planes where heaven would be plane 9 and hell would be plane 8, Limbo would be like plane 8.5.
So like
It's its own existence.
So what would you picture it as though? Like, do you have like a visual representation?
In my mind, it's emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like a waiting room of nothingness by yourself.
Would it be just black?
No, I feel like just you wouldn't.
A cloudy chair?
Not even a chair. I feel like you wouldn't even be able to register
stool?
where you are. It's more like a waiting room for your soul. Like, you're not going to be physically there. It's more like...
Your soul is there.
Yeah, it's more...
Well, because your body is still on Earth.
Or you could describe it as like drops of dye in an ocean of water.
Ooh, I like that.
Where you're just kind of there.
You're amongst all the other drops.
But you're amongst everything else kind of...
Until you dissipate.
And you dissipate it into everything else. So you're just nothing. But you're not...
There's no awareness in
There's
limbo.
no awareness in limbo. In my mind, it's just like a out of time kind of thing.
Okay.
I mean, that's...
Limbo's hard to really describe compared to both heaven and hell.
It's literally nothingness.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could describe limbo as a half version of heaven, where things are just kind of okay.
If you're aware.
I mean, you could just consider Earth limbo at that point, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole other day.
So, going to hell.
We might as well.
I mean, if you're in hell, I feel like...
Do you have to wait, like in heaven, or do you just jump into the fire pits?
I feel like it depends on what you view hell as, because Futurama touched hell when they kind of went through the levels based on how bad you were.
Robot hell?
Yeah, robot hell. But, I mean, you could take it as you have to start on level 1 and go down as basically as bad as you are.
Yeah.
Slowly atoning for your sins, and then when you're done with hell, you can either go to heaven or continue suffering eternally. There's a pretty cool story I read about a demon and one person who went to hell.
Okay.
It was a lawyer who went to hell, and the demon tortured him for... It described each and every day as the demon tortured him for basically 1 billion years.
Mm-hmm.
And then the demon was this hulking mass of flesh that you just couldn't register. It was more like picture like I don't know, a shapeless being, kind of like a blob of human shape, kind of like no features, and then eventually there's only one door, and the demon eventually leaves, and then you become the demon torturer.
Whoa.
So you're basically the previous demon gets to go to heaven once he's atoned for his sins.
But he's the torturer as well. That's weird.
But he tortures to atone for your sins, not his. He atoned for his sins by being beaten, and then he's doing his justice back to the next person because it's gotta have a chain.
Ooh, I like that.
So then once you leave, you can atone your sins and ascend to heaven.
Because it's only fair. Because the demon can't be there forever unless he's so shitty that he's just going to be there forever.
Or you could take it like the least terrible person gets the next person. Yeah. It could be out of time, so it could just be hell doesn't start until everyone in the world dies. If you wanted to take it like that.
Okay.
And then whoever the worst person ever was has to sit there by themselves forever. Fucking fun. Or you could go with the eternal suffering, which is more like based on your sin that you committed, you have an eternal suffering for that sin. Kind of like the gluttony we talked about last time.
Mm-hmm.
Or sloth being, I don't know, having to eternally walk, not being able to stop yourself. Each step you take, your legs get heavier and heavier. Or you're sinking more and more into mud, but you can't fight your way out of it.
Yeah. Basic quicksand.
I don't know. Yeah, quicksand, but there's got to be some like extra terrible thing where each second gets worse and worse until you can, like it's literally worse forever. It's always worse than the previous second.
I can't
because like the pains in your stomach are very clear when you're hungry and it hurts.
Yeah.
Each time you eat more, you get hungry and it hurts more. You have to keep trying.
Oh, I love that one. That one's great.
So perfect. But
it's great.
As for sloth, it's a little harder. Envy, I guess you could see yourself never being able to get anything you ever want and having to literally live through your envies for all eternity. But that's not even that suffering. That's
no,
it's
like
not. That's more like an annoyance.
I don't know if I can describe any of the sins and their eternal punishments. I think that I don't think. Well,
what are the seven?
To do that.
Gluttony, envy, pride.
Yes.
Sloth. Jealousy.
Yeah.
Is jealousy and envy one?
I don't know.
Well, we got 4 at least.
I haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist in a long time.
Okay, so Full Metal Alchemist follows 7 basically chimeras, which are fused beings, and they were each named after different sins, and they each followed their correct sin.
Yeah.
So if you were gluttony, you would keep eating and be basically a big fat slob, which he was.
Absolutely.
And then envy always wanted things that other people had to a point of fault, which I think was their character flaws, is that they all had it to the point of fault.
Mm-hmm.
Which is part of the fun of it, because that's why they were all defeated. Because Lust wanted to take the captain for her own.
Right.
She wanted basically him to join theirs, and he burned her to death slowly over time.
Oh, such a great.
That was a good scene.
Good.
Where he just basically melted her flesh off forever.
He had one of the best versions of. I loved his just snapping. I love the snapping.
Well, in my mind, that's kind of like the story of what's that one god? Who had the fire? Who held the fire from the humans? One of the gods held the fire from the humans and basically eternally roasted someone upon the fire, and like the crows and stuff were picking at him for all eternity.
Oh, I don't remember the name, but I do know who you're talking about.
And then eventually he escaped, bringing fire to the humans, and that's how humans got fire.
I feel like the Greeks were really good at like.
Oh, the Greek gods are the coolest. Oh man.
Well, just their punishments. I feel like their punishments were great.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like
what's his face, Prometheus, who had to push the boulder all the way up to the top, and it would just fall to the bottom.
Yeah.
Or it would crush him and fall to the bottom or something.
Oh, that'd be a good one for Sloth, having to eternally try to do something that was unachievable. That'd be a good Sloth. I mean, technically, it's all the same shit, committing the same sins. It's just different stories for it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's actually, or what's Atlas having to hold the world up?
Was that a sin though, or did he choose to do that?
No, Atlas did something.
Was it Atlas or Apollo? Are they the same person?
I don't know. Atlas held up the world. That's what
I thought Apollo did.
Apollo's.
Oh no, I'm wrong.
Apollo rides across the stars.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your life? Apollo? Literally, think about what do we use the term Atlas for? A fucking map.
Cartography.
Cartography and maps in the world and shit. An atlas is a map.
Holding up the world. Why do you need a person to hold up the world?
Well, in theirs, the sun was a cutout, and the moon was a cutout in the sky.
Do they live in a planar existence?
Well, they more thought that the Earth was in a bubble.
And it was geocentricity, so it was at the center of the universe.
Well, no, they didn't even believe in other planets and shit. They thought that the
No.
sun and stars were literally cutouts for a long time. That was part of the mythology, was that the sun was a hole in the sky, and the moon was a hole in the sky, and that's why the light shined through, and each of the stars was little pecks through the sky.
What a trip! I had never heard that before.
Oh, I don't even remember the story. There's one of the stories specifically.
I love that. What a trip!
That was a cool one. Same with they didn't think Earth was round. They thought it was more like a flat.
Yeah, it was a flat box or a
thing.
flat piece of paper.
Yeah, no, I feel like the box view was kind of silly. Like, no one thought the Earth was a square. That's
dumb.
retarded. There's no corner of the Earth. There's an edge of the Earth, but not a corner in that. Or I guess, like, there's an edge and a corner, but not like a...
Vertice?
Yeah, I guess a vertice. Shit.
Math.
When the three planes hit that corner, I can't remember what it's called.
Vertice, I think.
I feel like there's another word for it. In my mind.
The angle. Well,
No, because an angle's two.
The point.
A triangle?
Yes.
So we're just gonna go with triangle. Okay, so the edge of a cube, not a
I believe it's vertice.
is probably we'll just go with vertice. So the vertice was not there, but the corner was there.
Yeah. Well, how do we get here?
Oh,
yeah,
we're
Greeks,
talking about the edge of the world.
and we're
the
talking
Greeks
about okay.
and
So
we were talking about Atlas having a hold of
okay, let's get back to hell.
So hell.
So you're greeted by Krampus. Because you're greeted by Santa in heaven.
Santa Satan. No, so once you're in hell, I feel like you can view it as however you want, but it's always going to be the worst thing possible for you. Kind of like heaven, you can see it like each room was especially tailored to fuck you up the specially worst.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm scared of bees, but I don't at all believe they're my biggest fear. They're just like...
I don't feel like you know your biggest fear until you get to hell.
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty freaked out by bees. Like, if I see one bee, like, I'll walk like an extra block to not go near bees.
Really?
Like, I'll walk across the street to avoid them.
Is it like a true phobia?
I fell in a little, like a ground beehive. I stepped on one.
Oh, that'll fuck you up.
Well, as like a 13, 14-year-old. I
That'll
was playing
so fuck
paintball.
you
I
up.
jumped into a bush and stomped a ground beehive. Ran for like a mile. They were still following me.
How were the bee stings?
They weren't even that bad. I had like the military camo jackets and like obviously jeans because I was playing in the bushes. Like I had full things. I had a pair of gloves on too, which was cool. I had eye goggles, but not nose and mouth stuff. I had ears covers.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I was wearing like a snowboard goggles and kind of preventative paintball gear.
What had the worst area of stinging?
Oh, for sure, my cheeks. I got stung like 8 or 9 times on my face.
Were you all puppy?
No, I'm not super allergic at all.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, obviously not allergic at all because I'd die. But I got a couple stings like through my clothes still, like through shirts.
Oh, that sucks.
They were just little pokes. I mean, they weren't as bad, but you'd be like I was walking after I finally, I don't know. I think I got in a car and my friends came, and then later on I felt like a sting in my arm after I got home, and I was like, "Oh, you motherfucker!" Like there was still a bee. Like his ass was stuck into my sleeve. And he was chilling there, like, trying to poke me for, like, an hour.
Oh, what a dick.
He was just sitting there, like, for an hour. And then I fucking squeezed his ass. Because he just kind of poked me. I'm like, ow, what is it? I'm like, fucker. And I squeezed him and popped his ass. He deserved it. But ever since then, I can't. And when I was a kid, I used to step on bees.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
we used to have, like, a pansy field. Like, those little white flowers.
Yeah.
And the bees would land. You could just stomp their asses all day long. And me and my friends would do that, like, every day for months. And if you saw a wasp, they were worth 3 points, but you had to stomp them like 8.
You had a point system. That's great.
Yeah, each bee was a point. And wasps were... Oh, and if you stomped 2 bees at once with one shoe, it was like 8 points. A wasp was worth 3 because it took about 3 stomps to kill one.
Yeah, they're not easy
Wasps
to kill.
for me motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And they don't stop stinging. So
I still kill them.
if you don't succeed in stepping on a wasp,
you better run.
No, you have
they
to
bite.
run. They bite you, and they'll sting your ass.
Yeah.
No, they won't stop.
No.
Oh, one time a kid saw us doing it, though, and he tried to stop us from stepping on the bees. He grabbed it with his hands. He held the bee in his hands. it stung him in his hand. And you know what the worst part is? The bee still died because it stung him. He tried so hard. He got so far. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. Oh, God, that kid. I just remember that. That was like, oh, God, that was such a good day. I used to be really scared of the wind. like really, really windy days, I thought I could physically blow away at like age 7.
Really?
That weird ass thing, right?
Well, I mean, it could be blown away in a hurricane, but
No, I used to always have like a weird fear about like hurricanes and tornadoes and shit.
oh, I loved them when I was a kid.
I heard that if all of the grades of blast,
Oh.
all the blades of grass on a lawn are moving in opposite directions. So basically, the wind is bad enough that all the grass is moving different.
Yeah.
Then that's a tornado. And I was like, nowadays that doesn't make any fucking sense. Someone just lied to my ass because never is the grass blade's ever gonna blow in different directions because wind's a sweeping thing and not like little individual points of air. They were just trying to get me to shut the fuck up. Pretty good job.
And you're still talking about it.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that's a fucked up thing to teach me. I used to always watch the grass and be like staring at it like one day was gonna happen.
What's that movie, The Happening? That's what that reminds me of.
The bees and the wind. It's literally my nightmare chain. Don't bring this up. The bees and my nightmares. It's funny that movie dealt with both of my fears. Like
I never saw it.
It was bad. Don't watch it. It was not good. It just happens to be both my fears.
Interesting. I don't know. I thought it was all just plant based.
Well, okay, so technically the bees were dying off, and that's how they realized what was happening. They noticed the death of the bees, and the bees were disappearing, and that was how they realized what was happening. Wasn't as big a deal as me stating it now.
Is that what's happening now? Is the happening?
Kind of. Not the happening. Don't be dumb. You're a jerk.
Yeah, I think it's. I personally think. I mean, the cell phone theory is pretty cool. I can see that it does have it would have an effect maybe, but I do think like some sort of electronic based stuff has an effect on that.
Oh, I'm sure the bees are dying off. However, I think that there will never be a time when there's no bees. I feel like Africanization of bees is going to be much more wide set before the deaths of all the bees.
Africanization, what do you mean?
You know what Africanized bees are?
I know, I've heard of the term, I don't know what it means.
Okay, so an Africanized bee is, there's basically 2 breeds of bees.
Yeah.
That they kind of
Over
forced, here. No, this is a long time ago. They forced to breed them together.
Okay.
To make a more aggressive bee.
Why the fuck would you do that?
Okay, so it's an incredibly territorial bee that's more able to live in more situations. So basically, it was able to produce more honey while at the same time not dying off so easily. They were more resistant.
Yeah. And
produce more honey. The
bad
part was the territorial part.
So the equivalent exchange worked out in the bee's favor.
Yeah, exactly. So the Africanized bees are now spreading wide, breeding with the other bees, or killing them, whichever they see, depending on the situation. They're basically sweeping across. Because they use African honeybees with a more common form of honeybee, like this hybrid bee. Same with bananas. Weird. Did you know that most bananas died off?
Yeah, I did know that actually.
Yeah, that's super cool. Like there was like a really like sweet and tasty banana, and our bananas are kind of shitty compared. I'm like, that's kind of interesting.
And how our bananas are potentially going to die again.
Yeah, I saw that. You read the same story as me.
Yeah, I think I read this.
Yeah, way to go.
We just fisted each other.
I'll fist you for saying it like that. God damn it! You can't. Don't say it like that. Oh God. Stop that.
So, a side note, I also wanted to comment that when I was a child, I had for a while we stomped on bees, but then we thought it'd be more of a challenge to try to catch them in our sandwich baggies.
Really?
Yeah.
You actually stomped on bees too?
Yeah, no, we stepped on them for a while. It was me and a few friends, and
you tried to catch them in sandwich bags.
Because it's more challenging.
I guess.
And we want to see how many bees we get in the bag.
In one bag? I thought it was just one bee per bag. This is so much better.
No,
it reminds me of them tying flies to strings, but you're trying to do it with bees because it's more of a fucking challenge. What are you?
See, I've never tried to tie a string to a fly because I think I would kill it.
No, I think it was a joke that it was impossible, but they just showed it because they wanted to see what kids would do.
Oh, I want to stick a string to a bee now. But they're dying off. We can't do that.
Yeah, that'd be killing bees. We can use an Africanized one, but it'll probably sting the shit out of you.
Seriously.
Just run with it like a kite. Just try to escape the bees. The bees! They're in my eyes!
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
That's literally my nightmare. So, in
The Wicker Man.
1984, George Orwell's 1984, his ultimate fear was the rats, right? I feel like it was the rat in like a helmet around him.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That was like one of the torture methods, I think.
That was his personally worst fear. The thought police used it.
Yeah.
Figured out his worst humanly fear and used it against him. So basically, the thought police were using our idea of hell, which is really clever.
Mm-hmm.
Mine would probably be bees at this point in my life.
That book depressed me at the end.
It's so depressing, but because in the end he became like those jazz musicians that the three heroes that he looked up to,
and how they were nothing at the end, anyways,
and how they were literally just a pity to look at, and then he became a pity to look at.
Yeah, well, and it was so awful when he and the girl came across each other in the real world, and they were just like both broken.
They both just
spoilers.
They couldn't look at each other. I love the descriptions in that book of slight sexiness to daily life. When he was talking about the hooker who had too much makeup on, his first sexual experience, he described it, and you're just like, wow, it's like you could actually be there.
Yeah.
He had a great way to describe, like the sash that she wore being slightly too, it clung slightly too tightly to her waist.
Nice recall.
And it had made him aggressively. Like, he was sexually attracted to her to the point of being angry because he couldn't act on it.
Were they in the alleyway?
No, that was when they were doing their, like, rage time at work. They were, like, watching some news show or, like, listening to some, like, radio cast. And everyone was getting rallied. It was basically, like, propaganda. And he couldn't stand propaganda. But he saw this girl standing up and cheering, and it made him angry. So he wanted to kill her. But he was also attracted to her, so it was like a split thing that he was going through. I feel like in a removed situation, he was literally thinking about raping her to death. Like, that was what it went through his mind, because that was what their society trained them.
Yeah.
But that was the whole. That's like the first, like, maybe 50 pages of that
Something
book.
like that.
That book's only like 200 pages long. That's like the first little bit.
Good for you for remembering all that. I wouldn't have been able to recall that. It's been
but you remember? I didn't read that since high school.
Good for you.
Like 2010, dude.
Damn.
For real. Well, same with The Giver.
The Giver I can recall because I didn't like it the
thoughts of warmth outside and when they were freezing in the snow.
Oh, those were
I can recall every single one of those perfectly.
Vivid.
And in my mind, I can do, like, I feel like I could picture my own thoughts in places. Like, when I couldn't quite get what he was trying to describe, I had my own thought of a different, like, I could remember the warmth of a place.
Right.
It was a really good, like...
Because it made you think at the same time of your own personal experience.
Well, I feel like that kind of goes back to the Inglourious Basterds thing we talked about yesterday, where when something can actually make you feel the way as something that's happening in the movie, or book, or the media, or media. In your medium that you're currently doing, that's not the right word, but the media you're currently with.
No, it's fine, yeah.
If you're so into it that you're literally becoming it, that's when it transcends being a decent book or movie to becoming the point of, like,
to greatness,
to quality and actual, like, depth, like a depth to the movie where it's actually making you thoughtful about. I mean, you usually don't notice it. If it's done right, you don't.
Well, because it transcends all other forms of creation, because it gives you some sort of...
It's using your mind to make the story.
Well, that's the whole point of, like, painting.
And that's the whole point of books, too.
Yeah.
Like, once the book becomes in your mind as a story playing out in your mind, and when your mind and the book kind of meet up to that, at that one point, for that epic, like, thing where you're in your head, you can see it as if it was just playing out without a stutter.
It's George Orwell incepting you.
And he's literally putting you into the story. It's like you're there, and that's when it's like...
That's when it's the best.
And that's why I think The Giver and 1984 and Fahrenheit 451 are very good books.
Yes.
Because that's what happened to me in all those.
Yes.
Side note, Eragon, actually, towards the end of the third one.
Is that the dragon story?
That's the dragon story. The Eragon movie. You ever seen the movie?
No.
Don't watch the movie. You ever read the books?
No.
Books are great. I have all 4 of them.
Is that all there are?
Yeah, each one's like 400 pages.
That's small.
Well, for a 13-year-old writer. The first book was written at 13. He wrote all of them by himself.
He started at 13?
Yes.
So he's basically...
he grew up, like, at the time he published this story, I was literally the same age as him.
That's amazing.
And as it's like you grew up with the books.
Now,
kind of like Harry Potter.
Did the writing quality get better over time?
Very much so.
I would hope so.
First book, as a child, was perfect.
Yeah.
Looking back, it's not as great. but the second book's really where he picks up. So he has this good way of like tossing stories per chapter. The first book doesn't do too much of it, but in the second book he kind of has like this thing where he like, I guess, recalls to a different story. It's like two stories playing out at the same time, but they're the same story at different times. Like, it's like the story of his brother and him, and then towards the end they collide into one story, and it just all makes sense and everything completes.
Nice. I love when
and
they tie it up like that.
It's a real good story. Like, it ties off end. But then, like, each story leaves a big old cliffhanger. You're like, fucking, I gotta read the next one, as bitch asses.
Because they do it on purpose.
But at the time, I was waiting like 2 years per book.
That's not bad though.
But but at 13, when I want to read the next book, and I have like 2 goddamn years, can't keep my goddamn interest.
Well, because like time moves much slower when you're younger compared to like our age.
So first book would have come out was 13, second book 15, third book 17, fourth book came out a year later.
Nice.
So he had that fourth book.
So I'm assuming he's done.
With this series, but I don't know his name, but I'm pretty sure he still writes.
Okay.
I
would hope so.
He must have made a lot of money. Like, I want to say, because I remember reading that and everyone else reading it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember a lot of people reading that story.
Yeah.
It became a movie that was bad, but did
okay.
relatively well
made them
in the
money.
theaters. So I'm sure he made not J.K. Rowling money, but like up to the Harry Potter movies J.K. Rowling money.
Hey, that's okay.
So before the movies came out, he had made as much money as her, kind of thing. Because the books didn't do as well. They did pretty good, but I feel like they didn't really hit off
until the movie.
General people until the first movie came out.
Gotcha. I thought there was only one movie.
Harry Potter movies?
No, I thought we were talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, with him, he was popular through the books. Everyone hated the movie. My girlfriend liked the movie because she never read the book.
That's okay.
So it's kind of like the movie was decent. It just didn't do the book justice, which I feel like is kind of like it's a normal thing you expect from movies about books.
Right. Unless you're reading and watching Fight Club, where you can do both, and they're both equally good.
And they're literally different.
Yes.
They're so different you can do both without feeling like either one detracts.
Yes. Did you know they came out with a sequel recently?
Really?
It's a graphic novel, actually.
Ooh, I kind of want to see that.
Yeah. That's all good. He's going through his book collection behind the Christmas tree with white lights, also butt crack. Also, he's flipping me off now. He's got like a good handful of books back there. Also a TV on the ground, it seems as if he has a flat screen playing right now.
You're describe literally everything.
Kill Bill's still playing, mind you, and Lucy Liu is finally in frame in human form and not animation form, and good God, is she lovely. Woo! Yeah.
Yes, she is.
She's got it going.
Yes, she does. Sorry, I couldn't find the books that I was looking for. I was trying to tell you the author's name. But I found
To Kill a Mockingbird.
my To Kill a Mockingbird. Love this book.
Like, the book and the movie are nearly the same.
Oh, yeah, so good.
They're very close.
And it felt like the tension was in the movie. Like, you could cut the tension with a knife the whole time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Even, like, the middle of the book that's not actually that tense, they just write it so well. Like, the whole...
Or the movie, yeah.
Well, like, the soda bottle thing was tense. When he had the soda bottle in the brown baggie.
Yeah.
And you thought it was alcohol, and then later on it's not, and you're like, what? And then, like, the blanket, and, like, cuts back, and you're like, all these little things that just were so intense at the time. You're like, oh, just a kid viewing it through their kid's eyes.
Yeah. It's so well done. How do you feel that they came out with a book that's supposed to be a sequel to Set of Watchmen? How do you feel about that? Because Harper Lee is...
I heard that it wasn't so much a sequel, but more of, like, a side thing. Like kind of like you can view the the Star Wars movies. You can kind of just take the first one out. If you want to take Star Wars Episode 1 out and have it be like backstory, you can literally watch it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then be like, also there's Episode 1, it's a side story, it's not related. Like, it's the story of Anakin as a kid, not necessary for the... So it's more like also there's this.
Well, because there's no real connection between the first and second movie, because the only way they could have connected it is not killing off Darth Maul. I feel like...
Darth Maul actually didn't die.
No, I know that.
He's technically still alive in the canon universe now, still.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he came back for Rebels.
Clone War, or Rebels?
Yeah, he came back in Rebels.
Okay,
good. With robot legs. He has, like, spidery legs. He's really cool.
Oh, speaking of, Do you remember when in the past, we had talked about this series on YouTube by Belated Media about if the prequels were good?
Oh yeah. I remember. Yes.
The other day, they finally came out with episode 3. Did you watch it yet?
I haven't seen episode 3 yet. I've
Okay.
seen the first 2.
Okay,
The ones you told me to watch.
Yes,
You're like,
yes.
oh, did you see the second one? I'm like, no, not yet. You're like, go watch it.
No, and then the third one finally came out the day before the day of the world premiere of episode 7, and it was
Good timing.
Yeah. Well, he did it on purpose.
Oh, he had it ready like a week ago.
Yeah.
No, but he was holding.
Oh
it.
yeah, but it was a perfect ending to the prequels. I would highly recommend watching the series. It's like roughly 50 minutes of your time, but
It's not even bad. Like, it's really worth it.
no, he's done it so well.
The best part is watch each one individually. You don't need to watch them all at once.
No, you don't, because you
It's like
remember.
15 minutes, and then what, 30?
Yeah, it's like I think the second 2 are 20 minutes each. So.
Yeah, well, I say, was the second one 20? It felt like 10. Like, time flies.
Yeah, because he's very eloquent when
kind
he
of
speaks.
like when you're watching a 3-minute video and you're like, how long have I been watching this?
Seriously.
20 minutes? Oh
Yeah.
my god, it's like 3 minutes long.
Game Grumps like 20 minutes later.
I can watch Game Grumps all day.
Sadly, that's not sad.
No, that's wonderful. That means they're doing something fairly right.
Well, Aaron and Danny have the best
Chemistry.
They really do. Speaking of, so you remember John? Everyone remembers John.
John.
Yes. He has his own channel. He has his own series called Starcade that's been going on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He finally came out with episode 9 yesterday, and it had Aaron on it.
Aww.
It was so good.
Was it good? Did it bring back the old magic?
Yeah, and they did tease like everything's all back and happy in their world. It was great.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that they're friends again. I like that they wouldn't do Game Grumps again though. I don't want that.
I don't want that. No.
Every once in a while, a cameo is cool, but I don't want them to.
I would like to see John and Danny at least one time.
John and Danny always got along though.
But we've never seen that like in a physical format.
Yeah.
I know in real life.
There's a couple episodes.
No. They reference Danny.
I'm pretty sure that he was on a steam train. I'm almost
John?
positive John did a steam train.
If that's true, I missed it.
I'm positive it. Like I remember at least 2 episodes of one steam train.
Oh.
I don't remember what the series was because this was a long ass time ago. Just look up the Best of John. I'm sure they'll mention it at one.
There's a lot of Best of Johns.
But they're always good, so
It's
watch
true,
them all.
It's just John.
No, but that's like, I don't know. That's pretty cool. Game Grumps, by the way, is a series of 2 usually people doing videos, and each it's various 2 different people.
Yeah.
There's lots of them, but each of the 2 people do their own little
They're
let's plays of games, and they talk.
Yeah, they're
like,
just doing commentary over it.
kind of like we're doing, but with video games in the background to watch.
Well, video.
Well, yeah, like a video of video games in the background that
Right.
they play while talking.
Right.
About.
Now, that's our goal eventually is to do that. Is to eventually have some sort of setup so that we can play video games, have you guys watch the video games and watch us play while we're talking.
Or just things we're talking about.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, anything we're talking about, really.
Yeah. As long as it's at the same time, so it has some sort of reference point to playing. But what book do you have now?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a book I thought that you might appreciate. It's Edgar Allan Poe stories.
In children's story? Like children's format?
No, in graphic novel form.
Graphic novel, you say?
Well, I'd say it's kind of both. So.
Oh, I love the illustration. It's beautiful.
Illustration was by someone famous. Gris Grimley.
Well, he's got a great name.
But look at his art style. It's very dark and fun.
It's kind of Tim Burton-y in a way, but much more hairy.
Yeah, I see the Tim Burton-y too. But this came out like a long time ago. Like this book is incredibly old. Like you can see the bindings like full on worn.
It's been around for a while.
Well, I got this book years ago.
You can look up the copyright and it'll show you.
I was trying to see if it was on the outside. No, but this was the reason I got into Edgar Allan Poe. I feel like this is the start of my dark humor and stuff. All these stories. It's the Red Room.
Okay.
About the Red Death.
Yeah.
The Black Cat, where he locks the cat in the wall.
Are they? They're not. Are they abridged?
No, they're the actual.
They're the full version.
Well, I'm sorry. I'd say it's the full version with only a little added.
Oh, it's added, so it's more than.
He adds. I feel like they add slight words only to aid to the visual.
Okay.
And they do it the right way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, my version of jumping into Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe was
2004. 11 years old.
It's not bad.
No, but I mean,
I appreciate your what was it called again?
oh, it's Edgar Allan Poe's Tales of Mystery and Madness.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's just a cool little.
We'll put a link in the description notes if you guys are interested.
I'm sure they have pictures online
Oh,
of
absolutely.
all the cool illustrations.
I guarantee there's tumblers covering like
page to page.
Yeah.
It's only like maybe 70 pages.
That's not bad. But anyways, so my introduction to Edgar Allan Poe was
135.
only 135 compared to 70. Was watching. I don't know if you know who Vincent Price is. So Edward Scissorhands, I guarantee you've seen that.
Yeah.
He is the creator of Edward Scissorhands, the old dude.
Oh.
That's
okay.
Vincent Price. He's the one of the masters of horror. He's done so many horror
Yeah, he's
films.
the one who did the old school animation FX, right? The old school FX, like the.
No. That's Ray Harryhausen.
No, sorry, not the clay stuff. No, like the makeup and stuff, like the.
I don't. Him personally, no.
I thought he was the one who did all the gore and stuff.
Well, he was in movies like that, but not all of them. No, like one of them was like House on the Haunted Hill.
Oh.
I can't.
So he was more the actor in those movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
He is the actor.
He's the villain.
Most of the time, yes.
I appreciate that.
You know the movie The Fly with what's his face from Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
That was a remake of a movie with Vincent Price.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I would recommend any of his work. Like, you know, I Am Legend,
Yeah.
Alpha or Omega Man. The Omega Man. There's a whole series. There's a whole like bunch of remakes from I Am Legend, and there's one called Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. It's the same story,
but with Vincent Price.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
I don't have any like movies that I feel like you should watch over any of them because anything he does, you watch for him, and you can enjoy the movie even if it's not that great.
I'm sure Netflix has some of the stuff.
Oh, absolutely, I guarantee.
Like without a doubt, at least a couple.
Yeah, look up Vincent Price. He is just great. That's like if you are reluctant to read Edgar Allan Poe, his movies absolutely can get you to shit. I can talk tonight.
have a good intro into the darkness.
Absolutely.
Because that's more cult classic kind of stuff, dark things that people like.
Mm-hmm.
If you've seen movies like Donnie Darko and liked it, you probably wouldn't have an issue with anything Edgar Allan Poe or like the weird movies like that. Like
I've never seen Donnie Darko, but yes.
Really? Oh, how about what's the other one? The Darkness.
Is that a movie? Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Oh my God, what's the one that they're making a TV show out of right now?
Evil Dead?
Evil Dead. Okay, so the Evil Dead movies, if you've seen those too, that's all pretty similar realm there.
No, yeah. Except those are a little bit more campy. But they're great.
I feel like Edgar Allan Poe is kind of campy.
You think?
Yeah. I think you should sit down with it. I'm gonna leave this book with you today. You can go through that whenever at your own pace. Just go through the camp whenever you have time. I guarantee the goofiness will not pass you.
I don't think he intended it for goof though.
No, but
because he had a very, very sour life.
What did I talk to you about being campy recently? That's even though it wasn't intended to be, it was kind of goofy nowadays. We were talking about this at work the other day.
I don't remember. We talked about a lot of things.
So I was saying something about some very serious movies now being seen as comical, almost to the point of like they're designed to be comical, but they're still good in a different form.
Oh,
we had this conversation.
I'm very close to what it was. I don't remember what it was though.
Well, you sit there and suffer.
Was it an older movie?
It was an older movie. Yeah, it was a bit older, so it would have been like at the very least 90s.
The Crow. That's what I got.
Oh my God. The Crow was never meant to be serious.
Yeah.
Jesus, I can't believe you just said that. The Crow. Ugh.
The only reason that movie did well is because Bruce Lee's son died in that movie. Did you know they're remaking that?
I hope so. Anything will be better. Honestly, the Crow movie isn't even that bad.
Compared to its sequels.
Like, The Crow is kind of goofy, but at the same time, it's like, it's alright.
Yeah. No, it's not great.
Like if it's on, I'll watch it
Yeah.
just to enjoy what The Crow is.
What channel would The Crow be on? Sci-Fi, I guess?
ABC Family. What do you think?
ABC
With the rape scene in the beginning, that's how The Crow's gonna start.
I mean, I feel like they put Edward Scissorhands on there, so why not? They're basically the same character.
He didn't rape anybody.
Wanted to.
Edward
With his
Scissorhands
scissors.
did? What?
Scissor me timbers.
Oh my god, I can't believe you! I was like, what are you talking about? Scissor me timbers. Go fuck yourself with some scissors and tell me how you feel.
Some people are masochists. I've referenced this before.
You said this earlier, like in the video.
I know.
In the recording.
I know.
Audio. In the audio.
Bringing things back up is for humor.
I think it's too early for a callback.
Nah.
Oh, I was watching something and they said
South
that.
Park.
South Park. He's like, it's too early for a callback to that. Like, it's not funny yet.
I wasn't even saying that for
Oh my
seriousness.
god, no, I know, but that's so... Okay, so in the most recent episode of South Park, Mr. Garrison is running for president. He's fucking people in the ass to literally death. And that he's basically Donald Trump in the real world.
Yeah.
But they're playing him and Kylie Jenner as running mates for the...
Caitlyn.
Or Caitlyn Jenner, I'm sorry. Kylie Jenner's
The daughter.
yeah, I know.
One of the daughters.
No, sorry, Caitlyn Jenner. Because they're playing on her hitting people with the car, and then later on he says something like, he says something about a woman wearing a mustache is too much for him, and then he's like, you're such an asshole, and then later on he says something again, and he said it's too early for a callback, now it's just fucked up, or something like that. It was a really good line. I really appreciated that episode.
I just loved her character because she was so subtle. They didn't overuse her. Like I expected her.
So obviously, any jokes about Caitlyn Jenner are going to be really, grody is a good word, like really groaner. Like you're going to be like, oh, because it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like.
I love groaner. I love that word.
A groaner is like when
Is that a real word?
Yeah. That's actually embarrassing thing. I watch American Dad occasionally, despite how terrible it is. They did a roast of
Groaner.
Of Roger, who's the alien in that show. And
okay.
A groaner, he's like, Steve, open it up with a groaner.
Oh, the word groan. Okay.
Like a groaner is in like a pun that makes you go, oh, because it's not really funny, but it's kind of funny. So
I thought this was like a character.
No, I'm sorry. So
I know I got you, dude.
So the whole Garrison Jenner thing, the whole thing is just this really groany like laughter that you can't help it.
Oh, it's like when Steve Irwin died.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The devil's like, too soon.
Too soon. Oh, no. Yeah, it was actually him.
Yeah.
It was actually him.
Yeah.
Okay, so Satan was throwing a Halloween party. Steve Irwin died, and when Steve Irwin showed up to the party as himself, the devil said it was too soon to dress up like him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, then you're not in costume, so get out of here. And then he kicks him out anyway.
Yeah.
It was really good.
South Park really can make some good episodes.
No, they really do.
And have they had, like, bad episodes?
They do. Just episodes that aren't remembered.
I feel like, I feel like those are mediocre. I don't feel like they've ever had, like, a terrible episode.
I don't know. Some episodes are really dumb. Like, some episodes you just don't enjoy. Like, I feel like I really don't like the Mr. Hanky episodes after the first one.
Because they're repetitive?
Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Pooh, is really funny the first time. And the second time, too.
With his family?
With his family. That was pretty funny. And the third time, when he was, like, dying and he was just getting harder.
Oh,
that was kind of funny. But it just got so much worse. And same with Tally. Tally was fun.
I prefer Tally over Mr. Hanky.
You know what the worst part is? They designed Tally to be the most annoying character. They thought, what idea? They literally made him as the Jar Jar Binks of South Park to make people hate him. But people loved him. Did you know that?
No.
That was part of their, 7 Days to Air? That documentary they did? They talked about it.
I never watched that. But
it's a really good documentary on how they make the South Park seem like 7 days, that way they stay current.
I did watch part of it, but I don't remember that part.
I recommend giving it a shot again.
Yeah.
Like, it
was on TV.
Honestly, it doesn't matter. It's not like you're not missing anything minus the thing I just said.
I don't feel like they do that anymore, though. After last season, when they had the mishap with the power outage.
Oh yeah.
Because they couldn't air an episode that night because they weren't able to upload it because they had a power outage. I don't think they do that anymore.
No, I think they give themselves an extra week.
They have to.
I feel like they still do the week-to-week thing, but they're doing it a week in advance.
But with this writing that they've got for especially this season.
Well, they write most of the stuff still too.
No, I'm not saying like they're like I feel like they have to give themselves a little bit more time so that they have everything tied up cleanly.
Oh,
like they've had.
that way the jokes are a little nicer. And they're
Right.
not,
Well, because like
not as mediocre.
previous seasons, like each episode is pretty much its own episode. They don't really connect. Last season they had connections. Previous seasons they did not.
Yeah, every once in a while there was like a every third episode connected.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean now it's like every episode's one big overarching
Yeah.
plot, and that's kind of how.
Well,
Actually, I feel like that's the same thing that happened to Adventure Time, which is making it good because they're trying to make it extended.
They're giving it war.
And that's the end of part 2 of our Hell series. Seems like hell left our brains from the start, and we've lost our way in this tangential purgatory we're stuck in. Stay tuned for the 3rd installment where we really dive deep into, well, that'd be just spoiling the fun now, wouldn't it be? See you next time on Stop That.